أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Can everyone, if you can hear me, could you please raise your hands really quickly? Okay, that's perfect. Jazakumullah. Thank you very much. So let's start off our class. Let's have A5149 read the opening prayer. Assalamu alaikum. A5149.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Could you please read the first prayer over here?
Rabbi
Alim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi alimni. Rabbi shar. Rabbi alimni. Ma huwa khairun indaka.
And the translation, please.
Oh my Lord, teach me what is best for me.
Okay,
Your
Jazakumullah.
knowledge.
Thank you very much. Jazakallah. A5149. So today we are going to be looking at the rules which you were going through at the beginning of the week. So just one second. Okay, so you have learnt a number of rules which have been introduced this week, particularly in lesson number 4, which is important additional rules of Tajweed. And these rules, they're going to take some time to apply in your recitation. So we thought this week we'll introduce the rules, and next week, inshallah, we will do some intensive recitation practice so you can really try to apply all of the things that you've been learning this week. So as some of you may remember, hopefully if you've been attending the classes regularly, the rule which was taught at the beginning of the week was reading with a jerk, so reading with a jerking sound. And that jerk or that vibration is sounded on 5 particular letters when they carry sukoon. So you can see over here we have qaf, ta, ba, jim, and dal. And all of these letters here, you can see they carry the stroke of sukoon. And essentially what you're remembering is to vibrate that sound wherever it appears. So it might be in the middle of a word and it might be at the end of a word. So you can see here, qaf sakin is here, and is preceded by the alif. So we read this as iq. Ta over here, sat. Ib, aj, jid, etc. So we have other examples which you went through in previous lessons, and you're essentially just remembering to vibrate that sound in your recitation. The other rule which you covered in yesterday's lesson, so there are 2 parts to this rule. So first of all is reading without ghunna, and the second one is reading with a light nasal sound over here. So essentially when you come across a nun sakin, which is over here, you can see in the middle of this word over here, nun sakin or tanween, so that's fathatain, dammatain or kasratain, any of those 3 double strokes. If you have either of those, you always have to look ahead and see which letter is following that nun sakin or that tanween. And by looking ahead at what that letter is, you can then determine how to sound that nun sakin or tanween. A5124, please turn your video off or you will be removed from the classroom permanently for this lesson. Okay, so nun sakin or tanween, if they are followed by any of these 6 letters, alif or hamza, ha, ain, ha, ghain, or kha. So any of these letters following nun sakin or tanween, the way that we read that nun sakin or tanween is going to be a short and clear nun sakin / tanween. So for example, here we have nun sakin followed by hamza. Hamza is one of these letters, so we read it without a nasal sound. We read it in a clear manner. Yan'awna. There's no stretching, there's no pausing on the nun sakin. It is very clear. There's no extra time given to that nun sakin. So the next part of the rule is if the Nun Sakin or Tanween is followed by any of these letters, so we have Sad, Zal, Tha, Kaf, Jim, Shin, Qaf, Sin, Dal, Ta, Za, and Fa. Da, Zod, and Za over here. So any of these other letters which follow Nun Sakin or Tanween, this means that we read it with a light nasal sound. So with practice, you will get used to quickly recognizing how to read that Nun Sakin or Tanween. It's just about reading ahead a little bit and trying to anticipate what's coming after, so you know what rule to think about and apply. So if we go to Surah Al-Hadid in part 27, what I've done is highlighted the several places where we have either Fathatain, Dhammatain, Kasratain, or Nun Sakin, and the letter which follows it. So you can get used to recognizing how to apply the rules. So when we read it in a clear way, when we read the Tanween or Nun Sakin in a clear way, we call that Izhar. And when we produce a slight nasal sound, we call that ikhfa. I don't want to confuse you too much with the terminologies, but just so you're aware of the names of the rules. So this is izhar, reading the noon or tanween with a clear sound. Ikhfa is when we read the noon with a light nasal sound. So let's go back to our surah, and I'm going to choose, let's have from Nasirat, N6142. Okay. Assalamualaikum, N6142.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Would you like to, can you start reciting from the beginning of Surah Al-Hadid?
Okay.
Starting with A'udhu Billah, Bismillah.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Sabaha lillahi ma fis samawati wal arz wa huwal azizul hakim. Lahu mulkus samawati wal arz yuhyi wa yumiit wa huwa ala kulli shay'in in qadir.
That's fine, Jazakallah. So over here we've got our first example highlighted, and we have here, we've got Hamza, and what is the stroke that's underneath Hamza here?
Pardon?
So do you know what we call the stroke which is underneath Hamza in this first example here? What do we call this double stroke?
Don't know.
You don't know. It's okay. So if we have, if it was just one stroke, we call it kasra. Because there's two, we call this kasratain. Okay, so underneath we have kasratain, and it's followed by a qaf. So you've got two options. Are you going to read this kasratain in a clear way, or are you going to make a light nasal sound? What do you think based on the rule?
A nasal sound.
Excellent, yeah. So we just want to give it a little bit of time. Shay'in qadir, qadir, just a light nasal sound, nothing too much. So it's not going to be like how we have with noon mushaddad or mim mushaddad. Like for example here, this is a very clear and strong nasal sound. It won't be like that. It's just going to be a slight nasal sound. So Shay'in qadir. Can you read that for me?
Shay'in qadir.
Good. Just bear with me 1 second, please. Okay, A5124.
Salman, it's your turn.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, okay, if you carry on then from what huwa, huwal.
هو الأول هو الآخر والظاهر
So remember this over here is our thick letter za, والظاهر.
والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء
Just read this part again.
شيء عليم.
Good. So this time over here, again, we have the same thing. We have got kasratain underneath the hamza, but this time it's followed by ayn. And if you remember from our rule, if we have alif, hamza, ha, ayn, ha, ghayn, kha, any of these, then we're going to read it without the nasal sound. Okay, so it's going to be a clear kasratain. Shay'in alim. Just read that again.
شيء عليم.
Okay, good. So based on those two examples, can you explain what's happening here and why it's different to what's happening over here?
Well, there has to be a nasal sound when there's a kasratain, and a letter after it, but there are exceptions with some letters, such as ayn, alif.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's great. Jazakallah. Okay, if you could just carry on and read up to here, please. Sorry, just 1 second. It's frozen a little bit. There we go. So starting from huwa alladhi.
هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام من ثم استوى على العرش.
Okay, great. So over here we've got meme this time. Again, it's got the kasratain underneath and it's followed by the letter tha. So if we go back to our list, tha isn't included in these 6 letters. So that means it appears in this table here, and this is where we read it with a light nasal sound. So we have ayyamin thumma stawa. So min thumma. Okay, so ayyamin thumma, we're producing a light nasal sound on this meme over here. So if you read again from ayyamin. I think N6142, are you still there? Or A5166? Just try mute and unmute you. Oh, I think you may have been logged out. Okay, I'm going to try somebody else. Okay, let's have N6170. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I think the other student, we lost the other student, but if you can you read the same verse from Huwa Alladhi?
Yes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام من ثم استوى على العرش.
That's great, Jazakallah. So you did a good nasal sound there. Carry on then, please. And so we have coming up over here, we've got Noon Sakin followed by Ha, and then followed by Za. So if you just read up to here, and in the meantime, think about how you're going to be reading these two Noons which come up.
يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها.
Brilliant, excellent. So can you explain for the benefit of the other students? So what did you have to think about when you were applying the rule over here?
Because it was a noon sakin, I did minha instead of milnha, and because
What's the reason for reading that in a clear way rather than a light nasal sound? It is noon sakin, but what do we have to consider after it?
I forgot the answer.
So because we've got noon sakin and tanween, that's fine. That will be in all of the cases. But what we have to look at is the letter which follows it. Yeah. So we've got ha over here, and
Yes.
ha is one of our 6 letters where we don't produce a nasal sound. So we've got ha over here, and so yeah, you can see ha is here, and over here we've got noon sakin, but this time it's followed by za. And za isn't one of our 6 letters, so that means we're going to read it with a light nasal sound, okay? So in all of the cases, we will definitely have tanween or noon sakin, but what we have to consider is the letter which follows it, and that tells us how we're going to read that noon or tanween, okay?
Okay.
Okay, brilliant. So if you carry on and read the next part up to here, please.
وهو معكم أينما كنتم.
Excellent. So what made you decide to produce a nasal sound on this noon here?
Ta isn't one of the 6 letters, so that's why we have to do a light nasal sound.
Yeah, excellent. And just carry on up until the end of the verse. Just pull that page up.
والله بما تعملون بصير.
Brilliant, Jazakallah. Thank you very much, N6170. That was really well read. Jazakallah. Okay, thank you, N6170. Let's go back to Atfal. Let's try and get back. Okay, N6142 isn't there anymore. Let's have A5177. Assalamu alaikum, A5177. A5177, are you there? No? Okay. Try you again later. A5143. Assalamu alaikum, A5143. A5143. Okay, no. Okay, let's do A5166. Who isn't there? A5127. A5127.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Are you A5127?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So A5127, starting with A'udhu Billah, could you read from this verse over here, from Aminu up until here?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمنوا بالله ورسوله وأنفقوا مما جعلكم مستخلفين فيه.
Okay, Jazakumullah, thank you. So over here, what's highlighted is, again, we have Noon Sakin, okay? And what follows, what's the letter which comes after Noon Sakin over here? Can you see? Just take that over here.
Fa.
Excellent. So, are we going to read this Noon Sakin clearly, or are we going to read it with a nasal sound? What do you think?
Nasal.
Yeah, excellent. So this will be وَأَنْفِقُوا. Okay, so not وَأَنْفِقُوا because that would make it a clear noon, but because it's followed by fa, which isn't one of these 6 letters, it means we're going to read it with a nasal sound. So if you read from وَأَنْفِقُوا right up until the end here again.
وأنفقوا مما جعلكم مستخلفين فيه.
Okay, brilliant. And again to the end of the verse, please.
فلا.
So that was right the first time round. You're going to join this fa directly with the lam. فَالَّذِينَ.
فالذين آمنوا منكم وأنفقوا لهم أجر كبير.
Okay, so this fa was a little bit too long, this one here. So remember, it's just a fatha stroke, so it's 1 second. وَأَنْفَقُوا. Again, so in this line, we've got 3 examples where we have to think about whether we're reading it with a nasal sound or if we're reading it clearly. So whether it's ikhfa or izhar. So here in the first example, we've got again Noon Sakin, and this time it's followed by Qaf. So is this going to be clear, or is this going to be a light nasal sound? Which do you think? Are you still there, A5127 or A5149? Okay, something has happened with your connection as well for some reason. Let's have A5135, are you there? A5135? No. Okay. Okay, I think they've signed back in, so A5127.
Hello?
Hello, Assalamualaikum. You're back, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I was saying over here, Noon Sakin here is followed by a Qaf. So how are we going to read this Noon over here? Is it going to be clear, or are we going to do a nasal sound?
Nasal sound.
Excellent. So read this word again.
Minkum.
Give it a little bit more time. Milkum.
Minkum.
Good. And this time we have Noon Sakin followed by Fa. So is this going to be clear, or is it going to be nasal?
Nasal.
Good. So again, read that word.
Wa'anfa.
30.
Try to give it a tiny bit more time. وَأَنْفَقُوا.
Wa'anfaku.
Yeah. And the last one we have this time Dhammatain, followed by Qaf. So again, is it going to be clear, or is it going to be nasal?
Clear.
It won't be clear. The reason is because this is followed by Qaf, and Qaf isn't any of these 6 letters. Yeah, so Qaf is over here, which means it's a light nasal sound. So this is going to be Ajrun Kabir.
Ajrun kabir.
Good. So what I want you to do now is, if you start from Falladhina again, and this time read again to the end of the verse and do those light nasal sounds and all of the noons and the matain over here as well. Okay?
Okay. So start with Auzubillah again.
No, you don't have to read A'udhu Billah again. You can just start from the
Okay.
this part of the verse.
Okay. فالذين آمنوا منكم وأنفقوا لهم أجر كبير.
So again, you need to give it a bit more time. So this will be فَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. Okay, so give it more time. مِنْكُمْ. And then here وَأَنْفَقُوا لَهُمْ أَجْرٌ كَبِير. So read it one more time and give that extra time to the Nun Sakin and the Dhammatain.
Okay. والذين آمنوا منكم وأنفقوا لهم أجر
أجر كبير.
أجر كبير.
Okay, Jazakallah. So you're A5149, yes?
A5127.
You're A5127. Is A5149 there?
Yes.
Okay, can I have him next, please?
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Could you start reading from, if you start from here, from Warasulu, sorry, up until the end of the verse. And this time over here, we've got two examples. So we have Nun Sakin followed by Qaf. So decide now, do you think this is going to be a clear noon or a nasal noon?
Nasal.
Yeah, excellent. This is nasal because it's followed by Qaf. Then we have Nun Sakin again here, and this time it's followed by Ta. So is this going to be clear or nasal?
Nasal.
Excellent. So in both of these, you're reading it as in kuntum. Okay? So you have to give that time as well on both of them. And also bear in mind, after this, you're joining with the Mim Mushaddad. So Mim Mushaddad also needs time because of the shadda, and also it needs a nasal sound. So in all three of these places, you're going to be giving extra emphasis. But here, there's going to be a nasal sound as well, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you start from Warasulu.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والرسول
Just make this a little bit shorter. Warasulu.
والرسول
Shorter again. It's a little bit too long. Remember, it's just a dhamma. Warasulu yad'u. Read it one more time.
والرسول
Okay.
يدعوكم لتؤمنوا بربكم وقد أخذ ميثاقكم إن كنتم مؤمنين.
Okay. So over here, we have Hamza with a scorn. So that it's going to be a bit more of a jerk on this. So like here, لِتُؤْمِنُوا. And over here, إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Okay, so you really want to have a bit of a vibration on that. Mu'minina and litu'minu. Okay, so those are the first 2 points. Over here, just make it so we don't want to have a clear noon. We want to have a partial noon. So we slightly want a noon sound, but we don't want the full thing. In kuntum. Can you just read that one again?
كنتم
Good. In kuntum.
كنتم.
Good. Okay, brilliant. Okay, Jazakumullah. Thank you both, A5127 and A5149. It is tricky because you constantly have to think about the letters which follow. So you do have to be mindful of that, but with lots of practice, it will be, inshallah, it will become easier. So let's have another one from Nasirat. N6155. Assalamu alaikum. N6155 and A5163. Are you there? Okay. Okay, let's try someone else. N6169. Assalamu alaikum. N6169.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Could you start reading from, one second, from here, from huwa alladhi up until here?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الذي ينزل على عبده آيات بينات يخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وإن الله بكم لرؤوف رحيم.
Okay, brilliant. So we have over here kasratain joined with lam mushaddad, and if all of you remember back to lesson number 1, where this is going to be complete assimilation, so we don't hear the kasratain, this will be bayyinatil liyukhrijakum. So excellent, you read that well. There was no sound of the kasratain there. And again over here we have ra mushaddad this time, and again if you remember lesson number 1, when we merged this the matain with ra mushaddad, we're not going to hear that in the recitation. So this will be la ra'ufur rahim, fur rahim. So we don't hear that
رؤوف رحيم.
Excellent, well done. One point that I wanted to point out was over here we have lam mushaddad, and before that this letter has got the fatha stroke. So if you remember when we started this lesson number 4, in the word Allah specifically, the middle lam, the lam mushaddad, if the letter before carries the fatha stroke or the dhamma stroke, we're going to read it thick. So over here, because this is a fatha on the noon mushaddad, it's going to be thick. Wa inna allaha. Okay, so read again from wa inna.
وإن الله.
Excellent. And read it to the end of the verse.
وإن الله بكم لرؤوف رحيم.
Excellent. Jazakumullah. Thank you very much. Remind me of your ID, your N6169, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Jazakallah. Thank you, N6169. A5131. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Let me just take you off 1 second. Okay. Could you please start reading from Wama lakum? So the next line, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wama lakum alla tunfiqu fi sabilillahi walillahi mirasu samawati wal ardh.
Jazakallah, just stop there. Excellent. So you corrected yourself and you made a really good difference with the tha. and the seen over here. So you read it as mirathus samawati. So excellent, very good there. Just over here, make the nasal sound a little bit longer. Tunfiqu.
تنفقوا
Good. So if you read again from tunfiqu up until the end again.
تنفقوا في سبيل الله ولله ميراث السماوات والأرض.
Yep, brilliant. And if you carry on this time to this one over here, so from wala yastawi.
أولئك
La yastawi.
Oh, I missed the line. لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل.
Good. So again, over here, this time, the first one we have here is noon sakin and kaf. So is this going to be a clear noon or is it going to be a light nasal sound? What do you think?
Nasal sound. Light
Excellent.
nasal sound.
So we're going to read it as La yastawi minkum. Just
لا يستوي منكم.
excellent. And then we have a mim mushaddad which follows. So this is also going to have a clearer nasal sound, and there's going to be a lot of stress on this because of the shadda. So this will be minkum man.
منكم من.
Good. And then we have another rule which comes exactly after, and we have this noon sakin this time followed by alif. So this means that this is going to be a clear noon. We have a nasal noon and then we have a clear noon. منكم من أنفق.
منكم من أنفق.
Very good. So what you have just in these few words is lots of rules coming one after the other. So after you've read this clear noon, you then have got this noon sakin, which is followed this time by fa. So this is going to be nasal. So we have nasal, clear, nasal. منكم من أنفق.
منكم من أنفق.
A little bit longer. أنفق.
أنفق.
Good. And then after this, we have another noon sakin, which is followed by a qaf. So qaf again is not one of our 6 letters, which means it's not one of these. So it's going to be a light nasal sound. So we're going to read it as min qabli.
من قبل.
Good, excellent. So do you think you can read that part again from la yastawi up until here? So if you just recap quickly, nasal sound, clear noon,
Okay.
nasal sound, nasal sound. So if you read again from here up until this pause over here.
لا يستوي من
Make it a little bit longer.
منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل.
Excellent, that's great. Jazakallah, that was really good effort. Thank you very much. Let's Jazakallah a 5131. Let's have now N6154.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Are you N6154?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So if you can carry on from ulaika over here.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أولئك أعظم درجة من
So over here, just pause 1 second. this is joined to mim mushaddad, so you're not going to hear the tanween sound, you're just going to merge it with the mim mushaddad, and you're going to put a lot of stress on it because of the shadda. So this will be darajatan min alladhina. So tammina, okay? So darajatan min alladhina. So if you read from here again.
Darajatam minalladhina
Yep, carry on.
anfaqu min ba'du wa qatalu.
Okay, good. So over here we have noon sakin and it's followed by fa. So is this going to be a clear noon or is it going to be a nasal sound on the noon?
Clear noon.
So it won't be clear, and the reason is because the letter after is fa, and fa is not any of these 6 letters, so it's going to be in this list over here, and it's here. So this means that we read it with a light nasal sound, okay? So this will be anfaqu.
Anfaqu.
Make it a tiny bit longer, anfaqu.
Anfaqu.
Okay, good. Jazakumullah. Thank you very much. Jazakallah. Let's have now. A5120.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Are you A5120?
Yes.
And N6160, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so can you start from wa over here and then up until the end of the verse? So if A5120, if you start.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وكلا وعد الله الحسنى.
Okay, just wait over there. Just pause there. So over here, we have got we've got kullan. Okay, so we have fathatain on this lam, and we're joining it with the waw mushaddad. So we want to hit a slight nasal sound when we join it to this. So this is from lesson number 1, and we call it partial assimilation. So that means that we slightly hear the fathatain. So this will be wa kullan wa'adallahu. Okay, so if you read that again.
وَكُلًّا وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْحُسْنَى.
Yep, carry on.
وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ.
So if you're going to stop at the end of this verse, how do you think you're going to read the final letter?
خبير.
Excellent. Yeah, good. And if I can have N6160, if you can read the next verse, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. من ذا الذي يفرز الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه له أجر كريم.
Okay, so over here, in the beginning, we've got noon sakin and it's followed by dhal. So according to this explanation, we have dhal over here in this list, so that's a light nasal sound. So have a go at reading just this part highlighted.
من ذا الذي.
Try to make it not so clear as a noon. من ذا الذي.
من ذا الذي.
Good. And then over here we have got fathatain and it's followed by ha. So fathatain followed by ha. We have got ha in our list over here. So this is without a long nasal sound. So how are we going to read this over here?
قرضا حسنا.
Okay. So this first one is going to be a clear fathatain as you read it, qardan. The next one which comes after it, again fathatain followed by fa. So because it's followed by fa, Fa is in our second list over here, and that's with a light nasal sound. Okay, so we've got two different ones, one after the other. قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه. So this is going to be clear, and this is going to be a longer nasal sound. So if you read again from here up until here.
Zan hasanan fayu
Read the full word, because this is one word. قرضا.
Qarzan hasanan fayuzaifahu.
Make the second one a little bit longer. حسنا فيضاعفه.
Hasanan fayuzaifahu.
Yep, carry on to the end.
Lahu walahu ajrun kareem.
So this time we've got dammatain on the ra, and this dammatain is followed by qaf. So if we go back to our list again, qaf is in the second table, reading with a nasal sound. So this will be ajrun kareem.
Ajrun kareem.
Okay, that's fine. Jazakumullah. Thank you, both of you. N6167, you have a question. What would you like to ask?
I wanted to ask, when is the exam?
So the exam will be in week 12, which is 2 weeks from now. So not next week, but the week after. And it's going to be on a Tuesday. But we'll give you more information about that next week, hopefully. Okay?
Okay, Jazakallah.
Okay, Jazakallah. Let's take a couple more of you. Okay, let's try A5177. Assalamu alaikum. A5177, are you there? No? Okay, let's go back. Okay, A5166. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Are you A5166?
G.
Okay, brilliant. So if you could please read. Okay, if you start from over here. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so
G.
you start from there, and then you can make a.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبإيمانهم.
Just read that one again. وبأيمانهم.
وبأيمانهم. مانهم.
Carry on from here.
بشراكم اليوم جنات تجري من تحتها أنهار what? خالدين فيها.
So make these two the same amount.
فيها ذلك.
Just pause over there. So over here, if we start from over here, so we've got Dhammatain, it's da, and it's followed by da. So how are we going to read that Dhammatain? Is it going to be clear and short, or are we going to make it long and nasal? What do you think?
Long and nasal.
Excellent. So this is going to be Jannatun Tajri. So just read this again. Jannatun.
Jannatu tajri.
So this here,
Jannaju tajri.
just one second. So this here, we want to hear the tun. Can you hear that tanween? Jannatun. Yeah? Can you hear that? I think you've been
React. Yes.
yeah? Okay, so this is going to be Jannatun Tajri.
Jannatu tajri.
And over here, again, this time Nun Sakin is followed by Ta. So this is going to be nasal. Min tahtihal.
Me tahtihal.
Good. And this time over here, again, we have Nun Sakin and it's followed by Ha. So this is going to be a clear one. Al-Anharu.
Al-anharu.
Yeah, that's fine. Jazakallah. Can I have N6142 now?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Could you carry on reading from Dhalika?
I already read today, but I logged out. Like I accidentally crashed out.
Oh, I see. You can read that part again then if you want.
Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Zalika huwal fawzul azim.
Okay, that's fine. If you can read from here, just this portion over here from Wal Munafiqatu.
Wal munafiqatu lillazina amanun zuruna.
Okay, so over here we've got a few blank letters which we're not going to be reading. So Waw, Alif and Alif, they're not going to be heard in the recitation. So we're joining Noon with Noon Sakin here. So again, the same thing applies. We have a Noon Sakin, and following that we've got the letter Dha. So Dha is in our second list over here, right at the end, and that means we're reading it with a light nasal sound. So this will be Amanu dhuruna. Nunzuruna. So can you read from Amanu one more time?
Amanu nunvunura.
Dhuruna.
Vuruna.
Good. And if you just read this final part over here. So we have kasratain on the ra, followed by lam mushaddad. Can you just have a go at reading this portion there?
Bisurillahu babu.
So if you're pausing on a dhammatain, how do you think you're going to read this? Will it be babun, or are we going to read it in a different way?
Babu.
So it will be, it's going to take a sukoon, so it's going to be bab, okay? Where when it takes a sukoon, it's going to also have a slight jerk on it because it becomes our qalqala letter, which was discussed earlier in the week. So remember, the ba has taken a sukoon here. So not only are you remembering to merge this, you're not going to hear kasratain, bisurillahu, and then babun. When you pause, it's taking a sukoon, bab. Okay, so if you read that one more time.
Bisurillahu bab.
Yeah, that's fine. Jazakumullah. Thank you very much, both of you. Okay, so definitely the best way to really practice is to have a look at your recitation and find those places where you have a nun sakin or you have tanween. And the best way to test yourself is to have a read of a portion of the verse or the full verse, and try to think about which sound is going to be applied. If it's going to be a clear noon, or tanween, or if it's going to be a nasal sound. So the more you practice, the more you'll be able to remember which of the two groups the letters fall into. So again, as I said, 1 hour of just teaching this will not be enough. It definitely requires a lot of practice with you all at home. So please do try to do that. Try and think about it in your recitation. There's going to be a meeting, just an announcement I wanted to make, next Thursday. So that's the 22nd of March from 7 to 7:30 p.m. We have a meeting with mothers of all the students that are attending this course. So as you all know, we are week 10 at the moment, and we have 2 weeks left. So we have week 11 next week, and the final week is week 12. So in week 11, we want to have a meeting with the mothers of the students, and it's really to get your feedback on how you thought course 3 went. We'd like to hear your thoughts on the content, the pace of the course, what you think could be improved, that sort of thing. So we would really like to have maximum attendance for this meeting, and this will take place on Thursday next week. It's going to be the first half hour of that Thursday lesson. So it's not an extra lesson, it's going to fall in the same time slot on the Thursday next week from 7 to 7:30, and it's really for us to get an idea of what you've been thinking about the course, course number 3. So we will keep reminding you of this, but if you could note it down today as well, put it in your diaries, and do please make the effort to attend. Inshallah, we'll be able to talk to some of you next week. So Jazakumullah everyone for attending. We'll just have one person read the prayer. And 6174, if you could read the concluding prayer.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Could you read the concluding prayer, please?
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma hamni bil Qur'anil Aziz waj'al huli imaman wanu rabbahu lafu rabba.
So over here, where you see these tanweens, so you have fathatain, fathatain, fathatain. We want to make a nasal sound when we're joining this. Imamawa,
Imamawa,
Nurawa,
Nurawa,
Hudan wa Rahmah.
Hudaw wa Rahmah.
Okay, and the translation as well, please.
O Allah, have mercy on me through the great Quran and make it for me the leader, the light, and the guidance and the mercy.
Okay, Jazakumullah. Thank you very much, and see you in tomorrow's lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.